Hello, Stampin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, playing the part of Late Night Lori again. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, and I'm at about 11:50 p.m. So by the time I get this finished and posted, of course, it's going to be Thursday, but that's kind of the way I roll. So we're going to do another little fun fold. And I'm going to feature a sentiment from the stamp set with you in mind. This is in the January to April mini catalog. And I had an opportunity today to hear from the woman who earned being able to collaborate on a stamp set. So when a demonstrator reaches $1 million in sales, they get to go to the Stampin' Up! Office and work with concept artists and whoever all of the people are behind the scenes, and they get to help design a stamp set. So Julie Davison is the one that collaborated for this one, and she did a fun fold today, and I'm going to recreate it using some different papers and a different sentiment. So I don't remember if she did thank you or best wishes. I think she did best wishes on hers, but I'm going to do thank you. All right. And the fun thing she pointed out, I liked this set for the big fonts, for the big sentiments. And she pointed out there's these cute little images too, and I had basically totally overlooked them before. So we're going to do something just a little bit different today. And if you would like to shop with me, you can find my store at lorimacari.stampinup.net. If you need catalogs, if you don't have your own demonstrator, or if you have questions, you can go to my Facebook page, Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, or you can also shoot me an email at lorimacari@gmail.com. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And placing orders in January and February is the biggest sale of the time year for Stampin' Up! Because it's Celebration, and that runs through the end of February. You can earn free product by ordering $60 increments in product. So that would be before tax or shipping. But there's a variety of things you can get: stamp sets, paper, embellishments, ribbons, and there's also a joining bonus. So if you're interested in joining my team, getting a discount, getting products early, kind of being in the know, let me know and I'll hook you up. But anyway, we're going to use just a couple of products. I'm using these low profile dots. They are an online exclusive. I am using this white ribbon, and you can see it's pretty flexible. For being as wide as it is, it actually ties pretty nicely, and it ties even better if you don't have sore, cracked fingers. But it makes nice bows, and I don't want to split my thumb open and get it messed up. So it works really nice. So we're going to use a piece of that. That also is an online exclusive. And we are going to use some designer series paper. Now, I think I showed this some time ago. This is the marbled Elegance, and you get 6 different designs, 2 sides. One has metallic highlights on them, and then what we would consider the B side has a more subtle print that doesn't have metallics. Some of these are pretty similar, but the layout is different, or the intensity of certain colors. The main color on this one, I would say, is probably Melon Mambo. All right. So you'll have the side with the metallics and then the muted side. So that's that. So that also is an online exclusive. So I guess I'm really working with quite a few online exclusives, except for that stamp set. So this is the card I'm going to show you tonight. It's just an easy little fun fold. But I thought it was super cute. So when I do this, and I'll talk you through the measurements, but I would suggest that you essentially make 2 cards at one time. All right. So let me get my trimmer and a piece of basic white, thick basic white. Actually, I had my things all cut ahead of time, but I think it's important that I show you this particular step, because if you're going to make 1 card, you may as well just almost make 2. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to take your 8.5 by 11. This is the thick basic white cardstock. All right. So we're going to go and we're going to do it landscape. All right. So we are going to score it at 4 1/4. And we're going to score it at 7 inches. And then we're going to take it out and we're going to cut it in half. So we kind of like have the hot dog. All right. So you're going to do it longwise. But if you do your scoring first and then cut it in half, you have 2 card bases. So if you're going to make 1 card, it's just as smart to make 2 cards, because then you've got 2 cards. One to either keep as a sample and one to give away, or multiples to give away because they're so cute. So we're going to go back to where I actually had mine started. So you're just going to fold on that first score that's at 4 1/4. And then we're going to fold again on the other one, but we're going to go back. All right. And then this becomes a 5.5 inch piece, so it'll fit in your envelope. All right. So 5.5. So this is our fun fold. All right. And then we're going to do just a couple of quickie layers. So this is, I think, 3 3/4. Yep. 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. This is a piece of fresh freesia. Okay. And then this piece is going to be 3.5 by 3.5. And we're just going to glue those together. We could probably actually use some seal on this. That would go pretty quick. Use the adhesive of your choice. I frequently will use the all-purpose liquid glue just because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So if you don't have your item quite straight, you can shimmy it around a little bit so that it's where you want it to be. All right. So we could go this way, we could go this way. And in fact, I shouldn't have put this on here yet because we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So we'll just put it on my glass mat and we should be able to lift this right up later. See how that goes? So if I had a silicone mat, I could do that as well. So I wasn't thinking ahead, but we're going to stamp some images right on our designer series paper. And we're just going to stamp a few of these flowers in the Melon Mambo and hopefully not get ink all over. Let's do a few more here. Hopefully my head's not getting in the way. And I'm just putting the scrap paper here so that I don't over stamp onto that fresh freesia layer. And Julie asked today, how many people stamp on their designer series paper? And a lot of people just don't. But it can give a really cool effect. So those are the flowers. And we'll leave that out at the risk of getting inky. But then we're just going to put a few leaves on here too. So I'm using Melon Mambo and then Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And when you're stamping, you may as well stamp your envelope too. So just a couple little, I did this full ink and then these were just stamped off without re-inking. Okay. So some of these won't show when we put the sentiment on, but some will. So I guess we'll go like this. In a perfect world, if I would have been thinking, I would have done this obviously before I put them together. So hopefully I didn't just mess things up too much and that I'll be able to lift this off of my glass mat pretty easily. There we go. All right, let's try this again. So we will put this down right about there. And this one I'm not going to stamp on. We're just going to use some seal and affix that. And put that on the inside panel. That looks pretty good. And then we are going to stamp just a couple more flowers. You can see how I did in here. Just a couple flowers inside because that kind of, it shows when your card is closed. So let's go ahead and use our Pearson mat and stamp. I'll stamp off, and I'm gonna do this a couple of times just because I have a little smudge in there. So I'm gonna make it look like it belonged there. And then we'll put some more along here. We'll just go crazy. So that's what you do when you oopsed. And then I think I didn't do it on the other one, but I should have. Put a couple little greeneries here. Just because that gives it a nice contrasting pop of color. So I think we'll just add that on here now. There. Nobody will ever know. All right, so I'm done with the green. We'll close that up again. So this part is done, okay? The flowers are there, that's it. So then with the 2 3/8 inch punch, I punched out just some basic white, and I'm going to use the thank you sentiment because I still need to send out more thank you cards. I received from a friend a beautiful quilt. I feel very unworthy. It's a chicken quilt. She cut out all these different chicken shapes, grown-up chickens, little chicks. It's adorable. I'm a chicken mom, so I share eggs with her and her husband, and she made me this beautiful quilt. So I need to send her a thank you card. And let's do this. We're going to put a little banner on here. So I'm going to take it from this edge to maybe about halfway-ish. So we'll just snip that off. And I think I've shown you before, but to make a little flagged end, if you just take your snips in the middle of your strip and just cut up, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, however deep you want your flags to be, and then go from the outer corner into where that top line is, from where you snipped. and then pull those out of there. You have basically a perfect flag. And we'll do that on the other side as well. And I don't necessarily measure how deep I'm going with my snips. I just kind of eyeball it and it's usually fine. Alrighty. And then let's get these put away. We are going to add this ribbon, and that's just the white ribbon that I told you was an online exclusive. I can get this out of the way, I guess, too. And Julie actually shared an interesting technique that I hadn't considered before. And she used tear and tape. I don't know if you can hear the plows going by. We actually finally got a little bit of snow in addition to the freezing cold. So anyway, she took her ribbon and then with a piece of tear and tape, taped it on, which I thought was just a really interesting way to do it. I hadn't ever really thought of it before. How easy is that? You know, usually I try to fight with it and, you know, get either glue dots on there or dimensionals. And I am going to put a little bit more decor on here. I did on my other card too. We're just going to do a little flower on here. Stamp off a little bit. And then we'll do a little more leaf. There. Now I think I'm finally done with the ink. All right, so this I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of. And I like using my Take Your Pick tool to pull off the backings because it's easier on my fingers than trying to pick it off. All right. So, oops. Let's go ahead and put this on here. So we can put our seal pretty much the whole way. We just don't want the adhesive to go past where the card is folded because we don't want it to stick down. And then we can put a little thank you here. And I'm doing this thank you so it's pretty much in the center. And then we'll put on a few little dots. Low profile dots. I keep forgetting what these are called. There have just been so many new products. It's been kind of hard to keep up with them all. I wish I could get them all, but that's just not in the cards for me. Oops. Close enough. And I had a class this week, well, not this week, last week, and the gals there kind of overworked my putty. So that's it. Wasn't that fun? It's got a lot going on, but I think it's a really cute card. So there's the first one I did. And then all I did was this is actually the same designer series paper. It's just I flipped it. This one I kept with the flow of the colors. So these are opposite sides. These are actually the same side of the paper. So that's my little card. Why don't you give it a try? Add a picture into the comments of your version of the card. Maybe use some of your stash or some of the new things maybe you've been able to purchase. And let me know what you think. All right? That's all I got for now. So happy stamping until next time.